Y'all ready?
Yeah.
We're ready.
Ready as you can be, right?
Mhm.
All right. So, thank everyone for joining us today
Okay.
for saveArose's Suffering Roses. And this webinar is going to be based around y'all and your relationships with your child. Um, we're just going to ask you to, share some experiences. All of you have went through such a traumatic and devastating experience. Everyone in this room can relate.
Yes.
We've all lost someone very, very special to us that we thought we were going to build and have a future with,
Hmm.
right? So that's why we're all here today. And I just want y'all to know that this is a room where I want y'all to feel safe. Just like we did with surviving fathers, vulnerability is where our power lies.
Mhm.
And even though these topics sometimes are very hard to talk about, um, I want to, of course, see the light that you guys seen in your children. Uh,
Mm.
and of course, the dark side to all this and how you guys are coping with it. That way we can get this message out to other mothers who are facing similar experiences as y'all. Um, your strength and what you ladies are doing here tonight is going to save and help other mothers and families along the way. All right. And if there are questions that are too sensitive, you don't have to answer them. Um, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. Whatever you guys can answer, whatever you feel like you need to share and get out there and get your message across. That's what we're looking for. Um, and the a lot of the questions are open ended. So if I ask a question, it may relate to all of you in the room. So of course, feel free to answer. And then I'm gonna have questions that may be just for you. That just may relate to you that people may be curious about, or maybe we can get some more information so we can look out for it, right? So Jamea, if you want to go ahead and get started with everything.
Absolutely. Just to piggyback again off what Bruce just said, thank you so much for your willingness to show up here today and share your stories and be vulnerable. And thank you. Thank you. So I'd like to get started and um, putting the question out there for whomever wants to answer first. I just ask that the panelists mute yourselves until you're ready to speak, just so we don't have any background noise. But the first question that I'd like to ask is, can you describe your child's personality? So, can you describe what Amber is like, what Demi is like, what Avi is like? Can you share with us their personality? And everyone just wants to, take a deep breath, you know, feel our emotions bubbling. Just take your time, and whoever wants to go first, go right ahead.
I can share.
Okay.
Um, you know, when Amber was first conceived, right before she was conceived, I had like a they called a missed abortion, not a miscarriage. I don't know why, but me and her dad, we were pregnant. I was pregnant, and what happened was a I guess everything was, the child wasn't viable because everything must have come out in like a period. And so I was devastated because I thought I was 3 months and, all these things still going through, but there was nothing viable there. And so I remember having a dream, and the dream was, there was a little girl in the middle of me and her dad, and her lip was quivering, and she was just looking at her dad. And I felt like that was a gift from God telling me, you're going to have a child. Don't worry. It's going to happen. So Amber right there, she had already boosted into, before she came, I knew that she was going to be something great because I felt like she was a gift from God. So Amber's personality is that. She is a gift to everyone. I feel that all friends who know her, who met her, who anybody involved with her, that knew her, felt something. I was always asked, Amber's personality is light. She's like sunshine. When she would walk in the room, and everybody knows this, it would brighten up. And her favorite thing that she would say when the family would get together is when she walk in, hey, I mean, and everything, you know. And right now, the baby, he does that. He goes, hey, and it blows my mind. The baby says it. Amber, she had so much to give. She was very giving, very loving. All her friends fought to be her friend. Like they held on to her. Like she had friends from kindergarten or elementary that was still her friends at this age. They held on to each other. Um, Amber was feisty. She spoke her mind. I think she got that from me. She spoke up. She was not afraid. She she loved life. Amber, even though I was at home just praying, God, please protect her, there's no one around. Amber traveled. Amber was adventurous. Amber enjoyed life. She, I can't tell you all the places that she went to. She's gone everywhere, and she was so young, and I was like, I haven't even been there yet. And so she wasn't afraid. I think I held a lot of the fear, asking for protection, always thinking that something was going to happen to her. But she didn't have that, and I couldn't stop her. She lived life. Um, Amber, Amber loved. The way that Amber loved, you knew that you were loved. You felt it. You felt it. I had parents when she was younger and she had friends. I had parents saying, can we take Amber on vacation with us? Can we take her? She was gone. She would go camping. They just loved to have Amber around their child. I guess maybe Amber brought something good out of their child. Maybe their child was different because Amber was around. Amber had a love for people. Even one of her closest friends, she was like, Mom, can she live with us? She wanted to rescue people that may have been in trouble to try to help them, and she did. And I opened up my home to her, one of her friends who's like my daughter, and she lived with us. This is how Amber was. People just, that was like her sister. Um, Amber was the joy. Amber was my life. Amber was my joy. Amber was my heart. Amber was my everything. I just have to say, I was so happy to have her. When I brought her home from the hospital and her walking, and there's so many similarities in Elias. That's why I enjoy him so much. That's why it's like I have to be around him because he makes me feel whole, kind of. Like I remember Amber, and and I see the things that Elias does, and then Amber's like alive in Elias. So it just makes me feel good to be close to him, to be a part of him, growing up. Oh. Amber, you know, in school, Amber did very well in school. She's very smart. And I remember one day there was this teacher that was giving her a hard time. I couldn't understand why. And she was like, Mom, this teacher keeps pressuring me, keep this and that. So I went there and I spoke with the teacher, and the teacher tells me, Amber has so much potential to be a dancer. And it was like the teacher became that teacher's dream, but it wasn't Amber's dream. So I had to tell the teacher to back down, you know. And then Amber was like, oh, wow, that works. So whenever something happened with a teacher, Amber would call me on the phone, Mom, you know, so for me to talk to that person and they would back down. But everybody saw so much potential. They put Amber, they liked her so much, they put her in a place where they think that she should be when she doesn't want it. You know, she didn't want it. Um, I remember a teacher, you know, talking down to her while I was on the phone. I was like, give me the phone, give the teacher the phone. And I just had to say a few words and he apologized. And that was it. And Amber didn't have any problems with him again. But the thing is that, you know, I don't know if, you know, me doing that all the time taught Amber how to be a little more aggressive and speak up for herself later on, but she did need that, you know. So she became a person that she wasn't afraid to speak up and tell you how you felt. But, you know, it took, you know, I guess example or her seeing. Um,
That's for sure. She definitely will come on.
yeah, Amber really never had boyfriends. The first guy that she ever brought around before she started college, and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring. I think his name is Tommy. I'm gonna bring Tommy around so you can meet him." I was like, "What? Where did he come from?" But she brought him around, and we watched the movie together. We ate or whatever. I gave them their little privacy so they can watch TV together. And then after 2 weeks, I said, "So what's going on?" She goes, "Oh, I don't have time for a boyfriend because I'm about to start school and I need to be focused." That's how Amber was. I need to be focused, you know. And then Cam, you know, after being in school for a few years, you know, and I found out about Bruce in 2018, you know, and you know, and Amber, knowing Amber, she wasn't a person that was going out trying to find a relationship or anything like that. She was very happy with herself and her life. She enjoyed life. So I felt like, wow, she has a boyfriend and she likes someone. That really means something. So I had to like really accept that and understand it, that this is something big for her. And I kind of see now why she chose, because she goes, Mom, Bruce has a lot going for him. He got his stuff together. That's in, you know, so, you know, I see what Bruce is doing now. Amber saw what he could do. The things that he's doing right now, Amber saw that potential in him before it happened. And I'm grateful for that, I have to say, because I don't know, I couldn't do this by myself. To expose, to bring things to light, I couldn't do that myself. But Amber's personality to me, and if you want to give me one word, is sunshine. You want to be under it all the time, right? You want to feel it.
Yes.
Sunshine.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. So the question, hi Shawnee, welcome. Welcome to the space. The question that was asked was, can you describe your loved one? So Renita just shared about Amber's personality, what she was like. So if you would like to go next, or Alex, or Tracy has unmuted. Okay.
I'll go. And like Amber and Demi sound quite similar. Demi was she's always been a good girl. She never gave me a day's trouble. Everybody gravitated to her too as a young child. She has friends from fourth grade that are sisters. They're not even friends, and cousins that are sisters, and they are extremely close. And this has been really hard on them. Um, she always did her best for everyone. We have autistic grandchildren for my oldest son, so she grew to special needs at a young age, and all through high school, that was her calling for special needs. That's why she was worked for Easter Seals. She just loved them. The kids just adored her. She really was a good uh, therapist, and she always had her mind focused on what she wanted to do. Also, she stayed focused. She was a daddy's girl, extremely close to her father. And as he got sick with cancer the last 2 years, she was finishing college, and it was hard for her to see her father, all he wanted to do was make sure he gave her a going away party, and he died a month later. And it was really hard for my whole family to let their father go because he extremely was good to his kids. He loved them dearly. But Demi was a daddy's girl. She was just stuck to him forever. But then she went away to college, and she missed family, and she came back and went to Bakersfield College, Cal State. So her too, she had a very strong strength and personality to persevere, watching her dad pass. She just kept pushing and pushing, and she knew what she wanted. And she was always the go-to girl. She gave out great advice to all her friends. She was just everybody's strength. She was my best friend, and my daughter's best friend. Um, the void is very strong still in our home.
Mhm.
It's like my oldest son moved away, and just Demi was just everybody's, baby, pretty much. And she's a month away from graduating for college, a psychology major. And she took pride in it, and she was pregnant, and she was going to school, and she hardly ever, complained because she was working still, and she was excited to graduate. And I was just telling her, I'm so proud of you. You're doing so good. And she was just smile. She had the best smile. Like you walk in the room and she's there, and one of her greatest qualities is she was loyal. She was very loyal to who she loved. She kept her circles small because she was just a really good life friend. You needed her, she's there. She cared about everybody and all my, grandkids, but she was smart. She was beautiful. She was giving. She was just like every daughter you want, perfect for us. She just did everything right. And I had to walk the stage for her. And I remember telling her, because she was due at the time she was going to graduate, I'm like, I'm going to push you in the wheelchair if you have to. She just smiled, Mom, I'll be, I'm going to graduate. And then, mhm, you know, she passed away a month before. So I had to walk the stage for her. It was so bittersweet. They honored her, but she should have walked the stage because she worked so hard to get where she was. She did her best, but she was the life. She was my baby too. She was my strength. So I'm gonna fight for her. And Malachi, she was so excited to be a mother. She was so excited to be growing into her own family. It was a week before her baby shower. She was getting everything ready, and all this happened. And it just, from that point on, it's just been, a nightmare, as you all understand that feeling. But she's doing powerful things, and she also, deserves to be honored because she really was a perfect daughter. Perfect daughter. I just miss her so much. My heart is the first year, you don't even remember anything, you just try to get through the day and breathe. So pretty much, that's what we've been doing and trying to fight. And I will continue till I die. My last breath, I will fight for my daughter and Malachi. They have a voice, they mattered. And they just weren't valued at all. And she was just deserved it. She deserved a future. But that was Demi, her beautiful smile and her spirit. And we'll continue on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You both sound like earth angels, beautiful spirits. Thank you so much for sharing. So I'm not sure, Shawnee, if you wanted to answer the question as well.
Alexandria also asked to answer because I came in after everyone, so I'm really cool with waiting until everyone has shared and then I'll share.
Okay. Okay, you can go.
Okay, thank you, sis. So greetings, everyone. Good evening. I acknowledge my lateness. Being in this work, I was just in another meeting talking about Black Maternal Health Week. And just the plan for that so that we can keep this conversation alive and the legacy of the sisters, Amber and Demi and Alexandria. I'll get to know your loved one when you speak. So what I want to share is that Shamani, while she definitely is awesome, dope, love my daughter, that I want to make sure that when I speak of her, because she would come from me, that I speak about the stuff that got on my nerves too. So just balancing out the conversation because she was not angelic. She was absolutely a multifaceted being. And there was more awesomeness than there was the stuff that worked my nerves. And, I was meditating and talking to her earlier today about just how much I miss the things that even got on my nerves. So I'll share that she was a multi-talented, so an artist in different ways, very kinesthetic and hands-on. So she was a natural hair care specialist, had a business when she was 16 and a half, 17 years old, and generated her own money from a very young age. Um, so I would call her a serial entrepreneur. So she did a lot of stuff with her hands. I remember she decided that she wanted to make earrings. So she just started doing that. And then that got boring. So she started doing something else. So, she was, what do you call it? An installationist. So building things, constructing things with her hands. And she was also a dancer. So she went to the Performing Arts School, LaGuardia High School for dance. That was her focus. But one thing about her is that she didn't like a lot of shine on her. So she did all these awesome things, gifted, very visually beautiful too, but could not stand that level of attention and would get anxious and upset if too much light was shined on her. But I'm like, girl, you came here in this package and you have all these gifts, you're going to get that anyway. But just very humble as it relates to stuff like that. So I got to watch her dance. I got to watch her build. I got to watch her partner with Omari, which is her life partner. And, the two businesses that she ran before she transitioned were Artful Living. And then also her hair business was Hair and Now. And she was good humored and dark humored. So she could laugh at some stuff that you were like, you think that's funny? Like, really? But she got that from her mama. So she got it honest. But we love to laugh. And as an ancestor, she taps me so that I can laugh. So I'm so very clear that my daughter shows up in many ways, and she was bossy alive and she's bossy as an ancestor. So she makes sure that I'm in spaces like this or get opportunities to speak, or when I'm up to speak, she's like, oh, you don't know what to say? Move on out the way. Let me step in and I'll speak for you. And so I'm humbled by the fact that she shows up that way and that she's amplified my life through her death. So through her death, there has been a lot of light that has been shined on reproductive health, through her privilege too, because of the type of village that we had surrounding us. And because I was already in the conversation about reproductive health and, very much a public person, when she transitioned, the community rallied because she was deeply loved And then also our family was deeply loved. So I also want to speak about privilege, because I don't know how the conversation is going to go, but there are Ambers and Shamanis and Demis and Alexandria's daughter who have transitioned and their names are not spoken and they are not known. But because of how our daughters and our loved ones were, they do get celebrated and honored and bigged up. So I don't want to, she would want me to say that about the fact that there are some names that just, you know, they're not in the limelight in this way. So I just want to share that and just honor those sisters on in Shamani's in her name, honor them. So I'll say a few more things and then be complete and pass it on. Very similar energies, the way that Demi and Amber are described. Um, Shamani was only with 3 brothers in her lifetime, as far as intimate partners, and Omari was the last, and she built a family with him. But she was so gangster with hers that she was like, y'all are going to be connected and friends, or not, maybe not friends, but acquaintances, interact with one another. So Omari can speak to this more, but it's just like, if you can't take that these 2 other brothers are still part of my life as friends, then you're not the right person for me. That's just how she was. Um, and she was big on not, she valued her physical beingness and who she was as a sensual sexual being so much that she didn't want to be with a bunch of different people. You had to be a special something to be with her. That's just how she was. Very spiritual, open and aware. That's why I know when she's speaking to me, because she spoke to me about this stuff before she transitioned. We're a very spiritual family and we believe in the ancestors. So when she died, she immediately started showing me signs of life. Outspoken, fiery, fiercely protective, world traveler, just like you all described. If Demi was still here and Amber was still here, these young women could be friends, because that's the type of energy they all seem to have had. And Shamani loved women and loved friendships, and she was loyal to her friends, and she loved outgoing and outspoken women and women who were just boss and, you know, just unapologetically themselves. So I know they would have loved each other. She was also a highly sensitive being, so she would get overwhelmed sometimes emotionally by certain things that would happen. She called it anxiety. And so I want to say that. So, full scope, holistic look at who she was as a human being, because I do not want to paint a picture of perfection, because she was not that. Um, what I'll finally say, and on the day that she passed, my daughter was a foodie and she was extremely greedy. So even when she was in distress on that last day of her life, well, actually the night before, on the October 5th, she was in distress, having a hard time breathing, and she was feeling the symptoms of her pulmonary embolism. But there was a piece of watermelon in a bowl, and she picked it up as she was in distress and took a bite and was eating it. I was just like, wow. When I reflect on it, it's like, that's so shamanic. She's like, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out chewing and swallowing. So I just want to share that about my daughter, and I look forward to how this conversation is going to unfold. Thank you for having me here, Bruce, and Renita and Tracy and Alexandria and Jamila and, you know, Bruce's team for saveArose. Just thank you for co-creating this space so that we can keep this conversation alive.
Hi, everybody again. If I had to describe those who don't know, actually, I had twins. So it was Ari and Avi, identical boys. And it's funny, they were conceived around this time. And when I look at Ari, my witty 4-year-old, and I see how witty he is and just so bright, I just like envision him with Avi right by his side, you know, and I know that obviously it sucks that I don't have him here, but I know he's not here for a purpose, you know, and when I think about his personality, I would say that he would be like opposing. I could see him fighting with Ari. Like I could just see the brothers at work driving me crazy, and their other 2 siblings and their father, and just I Miss Renita Isaac actually said something that I can still feel, right? When I lost Avi, right? When his demise happened, I still had to wait until Ari was full term. Well, not full term, but until he was until I carried him, I carried both of them for about a month, knowing that I had the demise. And to this still today, I can still feel Avi right here. Right here. Like, and to get so far in a twin pregnancy and to lose one of them, um, it's actually powerful. Like, I feel my strength and I feel the strength of my boys, you know. It took a lot of healing and I'm still healing as I think we all are. But his personality would be powerful. He would be powerful. He would be energetic. I definitely know he would be energetic. When I would do my sonograms, I would see Ari and Avi, they would have their hands together, like high fiving each other. And it's interesting because it took about, I would say about 2 years for me to be able to like actually look at my ultrasound pictures because, you know, having to just, I guess, acknowledge that actually, I wouldn't even say, like, I know the loss happened. It's not even about acknowledging it, but it's like re continuously reliving that moment. Um, but yeah, I would just say his personality would be powerful, energetic, you know, that's all. Loving, getting on my nerves. Thank you guys for having me here.
Oh, thank you, Alexandria, so much for sharing with us. Thank you. Thank all of you for sharing that with us. And I feel like I got to know, pretty sure we all got to know each other and our loved ones a bit more. And that's, they're all just such beautiful beings and they definitely deserve to be here. And I'm sorry that you all have to deal with this, that we all have to go through this. But I do want to go back and I do want to pick your brain a bit. Can you all share the experience with me of how you first felt when you heard the news about the pregnancies? Like Tracy, how did you feel when Demi got pregnant and you heard the news? Renita, when you heard the news? Shawnee, and of course Alexandria, whenever you heard the news that you were pregnant, I want you guys to bring me back to that moment. I want to feel that. If anybody wants to open up.
I'll share. I was like, what? I can only keep it real. Shamani, she had Anari, my eldest granddaughter, when she was 28 years old. Um, and when she was telling me that her and Omari were going to start trying again, like 2+ years in, I was just like, wait. I told her to wait. And it was really just from my own experience of having children young, having her young. I had her when I was 20 years old and was married at 19. And I just wanted her to experience just being able to have more mobility and, just travel because she loved travel, and to move around. And so I was just like, do you want to give yourself a little bit more time? And she was like, absolutely not. We're going to start trying again. And I remember, oh my gosh, Kari, 2019. It was 2018. I think she said in November, we're going to start trying. And they went on a trip. I don't know whether it was Dominican Republic. And that doggone Shamani came back pregnant. And I was like, dag, dag, dag. You give yourself a chance. It's like you said it, but she was a manifester. So she manifested the pregnancy. So she came back and told me. And I was just like, what? But we, just loving her deeply and wanting her to have what she wanted, and just supporting her. So I was all in, once it was the I'm pregnant, Ma. But it was definitely something that I wanted her to consider, because I'm like, having 2 children, because she, Anari was a handful. Just wanted her to really consider that before she took the dive. So that's my share.
Go.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Oh, you want to go, Alex?
it doesn't matter. Anybody? I'll go after whoever needs to go. It doesn't matter.
You can go. Go.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So when I found out I was pregnant with twins, right? First of all, right? They were not planned, right? At all. It was a surprise. I had a 5-year-old daughter already, right? We had our 5-year-old. We were looking at each other like, what are we doing? Like, are we gonna continue this? Are we gonna still be here together? Like, we really weren't sure what we were going to do. I had just turned 30, right? And I've been with my partner for almost 15 years, like now, right? And I've been with him for now almost half of my life, almost, I feel. And when we conceived the twins, we definitely okay. I was feeling nauseous, right? I know what the symptoms are of like morning sickness and all that stuff, but this was like magnified, right? So like I was like, something's not right. I obviously, I missed my period, right? And that was definitely a sign. And then when I went to do blood work, because anytime I'm pregnant, when they do like my levels, it never comes out. I always have to do like blood work to get a pregnancy diagnosis. And when I did the blood work, it said that I was like so far along. And I'm like, that can't be it. Like, there's no way that I am like 5 months pregnant so soon. So when I went to do the ultrasound to see what was going on, I'm sorry, the ultrasound tech was like, does twins run in your family? I'm like, oh boy, what do you just tell me, what are you gonna tell me? Just say it. She's like, you're expecting twins. I'm like, oh, I was definitely excited, and I was excited, but I was definitely like, what the hell am I gonna do with twins? Excuse my language. What am I gonna do with these two? And my daughter was, again, like 5 years old, and I already had in my mind that, like, I don't know, like, this is good, like one is enough, but getting pregnant just had me like, okay, with the twins, like, I could do this again. I got this. And yeah, I was definitely shocked and thrilled at the same time, and also trying to figure out like how, how we were going to do this, how we're going to welcome these two into our space, our community, and our family. Like, that's all. But I definitely, it definitely seemed like it is a blessing. It definitely was a blessing to be pregnant with them.
Thank you. I'll share. When Amber first told me, I think Amber was afraid to tell me that she was pregnant. I think she was thinking I was going to be upset, or I was going to be like, that she's not married first. I think she was going to be thinking all these things because of my Christian values. When she told me, I was kind of shocked. I was like, really? And it was unexpected because I thought she was she was saying how she wanted to go to school, do all these things. But when she told me, and brought it all in, I was so happy. I was so happy for her because I knew that she would be a great mother. And I was so excited because I felt like, wow, extension of family, like more, because she's my only one. I always wanted two, but I only had one. And when she told me, I said, whatever you want to do, I just wanted to make sure, like Shawnee was saying, like she got everything, her cards or her eggs are in the basket, like she was ready for this. And I felt like I was scared, I was excited, there was so many different emotions. But when I took it all in, I was so happy. And I mean, Amber and we spoke I checked on her every day. I wanted to make sure she was eating. I just wanted to see how she was feeling every day. I mean, we didn't text or talk every day like that, on a regular. Definitely like once or twice a week, I would check on her, but every day I had to communicate with her every day. I mean, I have a text message, how you feeling, how you doing, what you doing. And just so I could just be a part of it and be there for her. If she has any feelings about anything you want to know. I started buying stuff, brought her a book, What to Expect When You're Expecting. I started looking for baby books so I could read to my grandson, because I used to read so much to Amber. She had her own library, and Elias now has his own library too. But it was the best thing any mother could ever want is for her child to be a grandparent. It's a blessing. It's a blessing, and I'm grateful for it. My feelings and my emotions are like all over the place right now. But it's like I had one, and now I have one. Like I won't have any more because I don't have any more children. So it's I'm gonna treasure every moment that I have with my grandson. This is why I'm so, Bruce may think I'm crazy, but I'm so intent of always wanting to be with him. Bruce, I remember Bruce saying, what did he say? That he what if he moved? I said, well, I'm gonna move wherever you go. That's where I'm gonna be. He goes, what are you gonna do? Follow us around? I said, yes, I am. And so that's how happy I am that Amber. It was terrible the way this happened, but things do happen for a reason. And Amber is speaking. All these things that's going on, all the awareness, Amber's still speaking. So I'm grateful to be a grandmother. I'm so happy. And thank you to you, Bruce, because you had something to do with this too, right?
Okay. Well, for me, am I on mute? Or am I unmute? I think I'm on mute.
We can hear you.
Okay. I remember that day she told me. I was in my room and she was walking down the hall, and like I think she was a little scared too. We had just lost her dad, and she came down and she's like, I got something to say and I got something to tell you. And I said, you're pregnant, and she was smiling, and Xavier was happy, and they were happy. But then, like a mom, I go, you got school, you're still got to graduate. But I knew that she could do it because was very, very strong-willed, and she knew what she wanted. But I also, as a mother, worried about all that stuff, and I thought, no, this is from God. We're turning into a corner. And I just felt like that, that it was from God. So, we weren't going to tell anybody because it's right at Halloween time, I think. And we thought, okay, for Thanksgiving, we'll tell everybody, but it didn't work out that way. People, I don't know, somebody told her brother, and her brother called me, is Debbie pregnant? And so we really didn't get to hold it in surprise, but they did tell Xavier's parents in a special way also. But, immediately his mom started buying stuff, so everybody started really getting excited because we wanted some joy in our family to start, but it didn't end up that way. She did it. She had everything already. She had her room ready. She had diapers. She had everything. She didn't even really need a baby shower. She had it all, but that's just how she was. So, I think she took her baby with her because she wouldn't have been able to be without him. So that's how I cope, because I know if I had a choice to take my child with me, I probably would have. So I have to look at it and feel like that, because Demi was she was gonna take her baby with her. So I know that they're okay and they're together. And that's how she wanted it. And the Lord allowed her. So, but it is hard to lose both of them. Like I said, I bought a toy last night for him, and it's in my living room. But, that's how God planned it. But she was extremely happy. She was just every day a smile, you know. She looked pretty every day. She was always buying something or finding something to buy for the baby. Like I said, he had everything. But that's how I found out, and they're together.
Thank you. It is something. I just recently became a mom. My son is 2, and I was in a space when we were talking about when you're with child, how you begin to plan, and you create this whole, you see, you start to plan your child's life and your life, what it's going to look like with your child, how things that you want and dream of for them, and how beautiful it can be. And I don't know, sometimes your mind may wander, and hopefully we're dreaming about the beautiful things that could be and not bad things that can happen, but that can be as well. But you would never imagine having to, like, it's not right to think that you should have to bury your child. Um, so, so if you're willing, whoever would like to share what your experience has been like, and if there were any signs leading up to your child's transition, and how you're dealing with it, how you're coping, things that you're doing to help you be present, be here, stay sane.
I can share. This has been the hardest thing in my life. This has been, and I know it's a journey. In the beginning, I didn't cope very well. I stopped taking care of myself. I just was taking care of Elias. And just, my health started to decline. I end up I found out later from records that I did have diabetes in 2017. My numbers and my A1C showed I had it, but I really didn't have a lot of symptoms because, I was going to the gym, I was doing some other things. And so when she passed, in the beginning, I was just in shock. I think I was just in shock, but my hope and my faith, and that's what kept me, like the word of God. I kept reading it, just to keep me sane, because I think, and also I had so much support. But what what I know it's hard for Tracy, but what helped me was Elias, actually, because I felt like I had to be here for him, to represent my daughter who's not here. And the day that, I worked at the hospital where all this happened. I'm traumatized. I can't even go back to work. I can't even go back there. But I stayed overnight, brought a bag. Bruce was coming to the hospital and was staying. And I had like 5 of my friends, like prayer partners. And I've been praying about it. And so I spoke to one person, we prayed about it. And you know how when you pray about some things and you just feel like, okay, relax, everything's gonna be okay. I didn't feel that. I kept feeling something's wrong. Something's gonna happen. It was so strong. But I kept saying, no, that's the enemy trying to trick me, to bring me fear, to make me afraid, to do all this stuff. So I kept praying, but I had to keep praying. Usually when I pray, surrender it, that did not happen. I felt like God was trying to tell me something. And I felt like something was going to happen to my daughter. And when that feeling, it was like I was being enveloped in darkness. And then Bruce called me, Mom, you better get up here. And I had to run. I had to run to the elevator, go upstairs. They rushed me through. And Bruce is hysterical, walking back and forth. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm asking people what's going on. Bruce told me he saw them take the baby and the blood and they kept her in there. Then he was telling me how they rushed him out of the room, all this stuff. And I'm trying to keep him calm. I'm trying to find out what's going on. Right. So the nurse, she comes out. I mean, they keep coming in and out. And they're saying they're working on her. Then you see people running from the department that I worked in with drugs. I mean, some serious hard drugs. And I'm like, all right, something's not right. Okay, half an hour pass, an hour pass. I'm like, no, something is not right. 2 hours pass. And within these 2 hours, they're telling us they have to open up her, they had to open up her chest and actually massage her heart. They had to do all these things. And in my head, I'm thinking, how is my daughter going to come back from this? All of this, what do you call when you bring someone back and give them that shock. I'm like, how's she going to come back through all of this, 2 hours of this, her brain, I'm thinking all this stuff, something's not right. I was starting to lose it. I had to start calling family members and stuff to come up there with me, with us, call Bruce's father. I needed more people there because we couldn't support each other. We were messed up. And that was the beginning of, the worst. I remember Tracy saying it's like a nightmare. That was a nightmare. And I was hoping that it was not real. I was in shock for a while. Bruce was in shock. I forgot about myself. I was trying to take care of Bruce. Bruce was just, I was here. I was in this house 24/7. We would go to, um, we would go to the NICU every day to see the baby every day at the same time. He knew we were coming. He already, like, he's amazing, this baby. He knew when we would be there. He knew when we would be there. So we would do that. And they told us, oh, he could be here from a month, 3 weeks, a month. He was out in 1 week. That's how strong he was. He was not on, he wasn't even hooked up to any machine in the NICU. He was breathing on his own from birth. That's how strong, that's a testament to Amber's health and how strong she was, and that this shouldn't happen to her. She wasn't weak where she would just falter. They should not have opened her up. They should have treated the symptom of platelet and made sure that, those platelets were high enough where her blood would coagulate and she would not bleed to death. And that's what they did. They were not prepared. And they took her from us, so that was the hardest thing. And then another thing was at a place that I worked for 25 years. I worked there 25 years, so I felt I was failed in many ways. I felt so much anger, so much hurt, disappointment. Nothing could bring her back. They tried for 2 hours. And I think they tried for 2 hours probably because I worked there and I knew people that I had called to make sure that my daughter, let them know what's going on, because it could have been an unknown person and they wouldn't have tried that for 2 hours. This transition, I'm not, I had to tell myself, I'm not angry. I'm not angry at God, because those were people that did this. God works through spirit, through heart, through all of that. And those people did that to Amber. They gave her a doctor, a high-risk doctor who never showed up for anything. She was the experienced one. She let young people take care of Amber that were not experienced. They failed. God has been there. God, I feel like without the word of God, without my faith, like I've been held up somehow when I can't hold myself up. And I have so much support and friendships. And my sister was here also. My sister actually moved in here with me and Bruce and took care of us for a few months. She was here. She was going to work. She was coming back. She was cooking. She was doing everything here for us. And my family was always here too. And Bruce's family, they would come up sometimes, but I feel like this is a journey. It is a journey because I don't know how, you never know when it's going to end or what road you're going to turn down, right? So you just keep going. You keep hoping, you keep surrendering, you keep loving. That's the thing. You have to keep loving. Like, I feel like without love, because you can I could have turned completely cold and angered, but you have to keep loving. And because the baby was put right there in my hands to love, that's what got me here. My faith, prayers, and Elias, because I had to be here for him. There was a time that I was laying down. It was early on, after the baby came home from the hospital. I was laying in the bed, and my daughter, when she used to come in my room, she used to come, like towards the end of the bed, edge of the bed, and if my legs were there, she would push up against them. I felt that. I felt that here, and I felt like my daughter was telling me, I'm still here, I'm with you. You can do this. Wake up. Keep your eyes open. Like she knows how I could get. I could easily go into a depression, go down, but she was like, keep going. And she was like, I'm right here, and I've had dreams. I had so many things that I felt that she was just talking to me. Even the time that I finished the puzzle that she and me, Bruce, and my daughter started that week that I stayed before she went in the hospital, there was a puzzle, and it wasn't finished. And I made a vow that I would finish it. She was with me. I had put some music on, and all this music that she danced to, because Shawnee, my daughter, was a dancer too. And so she did this dance with some of her friends and in school, and the music from that came on. And I was like, okay, you telling me you're here, you're doing this, we're staying up. I got some wine, and I sat down, and I finished that puzzle. I finished it, and I framed it. So those things that, just that things that make you feel good and happy that she's there, and just keep moving, keep going. you know um, my health, like I was saying earlier, declined, but they want to fill me up with insulin and all this, and I wasn't feeling good about it. I was like, no, I don't like the way I'm feeling. So I stopped and I started doing natural things, and I actually was able to keep my glucose low. But stress can bring it on. Like, so if I have any stress about me thinking, okay, wow, because sometimes I have a moment, I have a moment where, like, wow, I haven't worked since my daughter passed. I have no income coming in. You start thinking about all these things and you get stressed for the future. Um, you know, I also mourn my daughter's future. Mourning, it just doesn't stop for the body that she's gone present, but you mourn the future as well. Every time I look at Elias, I say, what would Amber be doing right now? When Elias gets in his little funks and he cries and stuff, I was like, Amber will be calling me, Ma, get over here now and help me. She would be saying these things, but you just got to keep moving. You got to keep going. Um, like there's a saying in church, like when people go through things, and I was reading, in this book on grieving. It talks about sometimes people isolate. I'm an isolator. I can isolate myself, and I can stay in that room, and I know people love me, and and I could just be by myself, or me and the baby, just isolate. Well, I know it's not the best thing, but it's a part of my process, and I know I have to get through it. And I know that I'm going to get through this. I just don't know, can't put the time on it. So I'm just taking one day at a time, and I have to remember me. That's what I want to say for Tracy. I'd like to remember yourself also, in your health. Um, I want to get out there and I want to start walking. I want to try to go to the gym, and also try to channel the stress, because there's everyday stress, so I try to channel it. I start doing deep breathing. There's also videos too. I have the yoga videos, I have things sometimes, but sometimes you don't have a chance to do that stuff with a baby, a little one like Elias. But I know there's things out there that I can do with him. So I'm trying to look and see what other videos I can do with him on the floor. And as soon as the weather breaks, I'll get out there. But you got to remember ourselves in this too, our health, and that we got to continue to be there for our loved ones. I love Shawnee's personality. Lots of, I love that about her. Lots of energy, and you're keeping yourself busy. And, I really haven't been in front of the camera. I was going through it, but I feel like I do have a lot to say now. And I always want to help others. If I can be a help to someone, I'm there, for someone to better their life, or to cope, to talk. Before I didn't really want to talk to anybody. I couldn't. I just wanted to crawl up in the ball. But, You know, my family has been there. My niece has been like an incredible angel to me. You know, I try every week to get out of the house at least 2 times a week, you know, with the social distancing. I'm not around a lot of people. I'm just with my niece and my nephew, but we're out and we're doing things. We're running errands. We're getting fresh air, you know, just try to get out of the house. But I think um, there's a lot more to come. There's a lot more growth, and it's something that you can't rush. And when it comes here, you'll know it. And that's how I feel like it's time. Like someone asked me today, you feel like it's time now to speak, you're ready for it. And that's how I feel. I am, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Renita. Thank you so much for your strength and for speaking. And you know, this being your first time, because I know that takes a lot out of you. And me stepping into this work and having to do this almost every day is just draining. You know, having to relive these experiences and you know, to think how unfair this is for us.
Mm.
So thank you yet again so much for sharing. Thank you for being here with us tonight as well. Anyone else want to go next?
I'll go next. Um, I remember when they came and said that she had passed the doctor, the ER doctor. I remember falling to the ground, and I remember pleading with God to take this cup from me. At that point, I can honestly say I don't remember a lot for probably the first, you know, I had, I couldn't even get out of bed. I couldn't brush my teeth. I couldn't comb my hair. I couldn't do anything but cry in that my bed. I couldn't, my faith was tested. I'm also, you know, woman of faith for many years. Um, I couldn't do anything. I was a walking zombie for months. I couldn't believe it happened. Um, Everybody in my family was grieving, you know, everyone's going through their own grief, and then you try to pull yourself together, and then you can't, and you can't believe it happened. How, you know, you have all these questions. I literally went, I can't even sometimes even go to the grocery store. If I do, I have to go to different stores because they're triggers. And like even go to Target, I will be there for maybe 2, 3 minutes and I have to leave because that was what we did. Um, it's really hard. I had to change a lot of stuff in myself, my health. I got skinny, I got heavy, I eat fast food I shouldn't, you know, so I'm going through that still. Um, I'm in the Bible a lot. I went to everybody for help. I went to pastors. I went to fathers. I went to psychologists. I don't know what I was looking for. I don't know if I was just looking for them to tell me it didn't happen, or don't even know. When I really should have just like God was the answer, but I wanted something else. I don't know. You know, I was searching, and there's days when I don't I can't function, so I'll stay in my room. And then you see your other kids going through it, causing their pain, their marriages. You know, that's hard because you're not the same person. You're not the same mom. You're a whole different person, and you don't even know what to do with yourself. And it's really hard to balance it. You know, like I have learned, like you said, self-care has been probably the best thing that's got me some calmness, you know. Now I'm on medication that I never had before. You know, my blood pressure or anxiety. I never had anxiety, but now I'm thinking, okay, I got all these things now. Like this is going almost going to be 2 years. So now I'm like, okay, maybe I'll go swim this year. I didn't even go in the pool last year. I didn't even look at it. Everyone's like, get outside, walk. You need a walk. I couldn't even walk. And then I went through the period of I didn't want to move on. I didn't know how to literally get through the day without her. I was like, I felt guilty. Like, how is that possible that she's not here and I have to do this, this, and this? And I couldn't do it. And to this day, I still struggle with that, getting stuff done, because I feel like it doesn't feel right. It just feels, and then you're alone, so you just go and do what you got to do, come home. And and you're in your house, and then it's just a really hard walk. Nobody talks about grief. And then it's a lifetime, and I'm learning and I'm going through the process. Like you said, it's every day a little bit. The first year was actually just breathing. If I could just breathe and sit here and get through the day, then I made one day. And then it was 2 days. And then it was 3 days. And now I'm almost on 2 years. And it's better, but it still hurts like it was yesterday. And I'm not, sometimes I try to think like, is it going to get better? But it's not. I have to just learn to live with this and get through it. I'm always going to feel the void wherever I'm at. I could be anywhere and I feel a void. Anywhere at someone's house, even my daughter, or Thanksgiving dinner, or the void's there. It's not the same. It's just really hard to go through that every day. But this is what you have to do. So I've kind of learned to train it to be more active in changing and being more involved in that. Seems to help me, because that anger and the hurt is turning into movement and making things better for other people. And then I feel better. Then I'm like, okay, but I'm still go to bed every night and cry myself to sleep, because there has not been a day that I have not cried. And that, isn't going to change. But maybe someone else would have to go through this if we can make a difference in the world, that no other family has to go through this, because it's really a nightmare that you never get out of. I know she's pushing me, and I know she's up there, and I know she's doing the things that she's doing. So that gives me strength, but it is very hard journey, extremely hard. And I feel the same exact way as you do. But that's so far, that's my journey right now, that's where I'm at in my journey.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Tracy. And you just said so many compelling things. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand grief because they're moving on with their lives while we're at a standstill. And you were saying things like you guys going to Target and stuff like that. It's still very hard for me to go grocery shopping. Like I'll go grocery shopping and I'll start choking up because I don't have the list that Amber made, or um there's places I go into, and I'm just instantly sad because I'm not doing these things with my partner. And I'll go outside and I'll see couples laughing together, and as much as that makes me happy for them, it hurts me. um I'll see complete families with their children, and children with their mothers, and it hurts because every child deserves and needs their mother, their nurturer. So thank you for sharing that viewpoint on it, because a lot of people truly don't understand that. Now, Tracy, I have another question for you, and I do apologize if this is a bit triggering. Um, I see Xavier is also in the room, so I'm sorry, Xavier, if this is a bit triggering as well. If you know, we're welcome to talk after the show, if anything. Um, I know that sweet Malachi only got to bless this earth for 18 hours, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit how that was like for y'all? Did you know that he had a short amount of time on this earth, or was it something that was unexpected? Um, you know, how did you guys deal with that? Because I know that's got to be extremely tough. You know, with us having our grandchildren and I mean our children, grandchildren, and you guys not being at least able to have that with you and that piece of Demi with you. Could you share a little bit on that? Could you elaborate, please?
Well, when they told us that she had passed, they immediately rushed Xavier up to the NIC unit, and I was out of it. I didn't even, at that point, I was on the ground. And I'm going to be brutally honest. I was flat out on the ground in the middle of the ER. All I can remember is my son picking me up and putting me in the car. So at that point, I didn't even get to meet or see Malachi myself. Because by the time I got home, everyone was in disbelief. I was out of it. I think the doctors were trying to give me medicines and pills to knock me out because I was hysterical. And Xavier and then my son and my other daughter got to go to the NSC unit and his parents. So as far as for me, I didn't even get to meet him. I didn't get to see or touch him or hold him. So then they took him. I mean, I was out of it. And by the nighttime came, they took him to Madeira, out of town. And I didn't get to see
I'm sorry,
him.
Tracy.
No, he was a big boy. He was healthy. He would have made it. He would have made it. And so I was looking so forward to, because it was my daughter's, I have grandkids from my son, and me and Demi were so extremely close. So it was going to be like our little third buddy, in the house. Everybody was so excited. I mean, like I said, everything was already in place for him, welcoming him. And he even had his Mickey Mouse ears from Disneyland already. But no, I didn't get to see him at all, or hold him, or kiss him, or tell him I love him. So
Sorry.
I wait to the day to go to heaven so I can meet him.
I'm truly sorry that you and your family had to experience that.
Thank
You
you.
guys deserve to have them both here.
Yeah.
You know, I know Xavier was ready to become a father, and I know that he loved Demi and Malachi both with all of his heart, as you all did, and I can't imagine. I would be completely lost if I lost Elias too. So I commend you for your strength, and I commend Xavier for his strength, because I wouldn't. I don't know how I would be able to stand in your shoes.
It's only by God's grace that we're here. I'm here. I'm in. Literally, I'm in.
And you're here for a reason, and you're here to fight with us, and we appreciate you.
Well,
And we're gonna get justice for Demi, and we're gonna get justice for Malachi.
thank you very much. I appreciate your help. Our family does. And, it's No family should have to go through this.
No, they shouldn't. And your community is here for you. Your extended family is here for you. And
Thank you.
we're gonna make sure that you guys get everything that you deserve, and
Thank-
that people are held accountable for this.
Yes, I believe it. I believe it's going to happen.
Thank you so much yet again, Tracy, for your strength. And Shawnee, sorry, Alexandria, I'll get right back to you. But Shawnee, I have a question for you, in regards to Shamani's transition. Now, like, I'm still like I said, the father, surviving fathers, I'm still having trouble sleeping. Like it's really hard for me to go to sleep. Sometimes it's been really hard for me to sleep on my bed. There's times where I'm just passing out on the couch. I'm waiting until my eyes are extremely heavy to pass out. You know, there's days, you know, sometimes it's hard for me to even to be home, because all of our memories, our history is here, and all I see is our life together, and what should have been. Um, Now I think about that a lot, because I think about Amari and how hard that must have been for him. You know, once I found out that you know, Shamani actually passed away in their bed, that tears me up. And we didn't have enough time for him to answer the question last time. But I was really wanting to see how hard that was for him, and how hard it was for him to sleep. Now, did you guys have any signs after the hospital, or did you guys notice any signs that were, you know, that was going on with Shamani after the pregnancy? Because she passed away, was it 2 weeks after the pregnancy, or a week after the pregnancy, if I'm not mistaken?
13 days after giving birth to Kari. I want to address something before I go there. She went into cardiac arrest in their bedroom, and they had to, you know, find revive her, like get a pulse. So technically, she did pass. They brought her back, and then they transitioned her to the hospital. But I want to share something about this, Bruce, from me. And you know, grief shows up in different ways for different people, and so, you know, some folks were very, very worried about me, Omari, our family, and the way that we were processing Shamani's transition. To me, it was a gift that Shamani was home when all of that happened. For me, if I would have gotten a call from Omari saying that my child, because she could have died in the bed that night, when I think about how that could have gone down, I'm like, that was nothing but spirit that blessed us so that we could talk to her, see her, have a hand in the last hours in her life. So my reframe is like, if I was home that day, or I left that night, because you know it was mounting. She had a pulmonary embolism. It was getting worse and worse, and the clotting was building and building. She could have easily transitioned in her sleep, and he could have woken up with his mate deceased in the bed. And so I rather her be alive, have her last moments in the bed, in the sanctuary of their bedroom. You know, where those days where she got to breastfeed, where Amari was giving her hands-on care for her C-section recovery, um, than for it to have happened in the way that I just described. So that was a blessing. Um, I love that I was with my daughter. I was one of the people that was with my daughter before she took her last breath. And Omari, the family, we talk about that, and some people like it's so devastating watching them working on her for hours, because Renita spoke about them working on Amber. I'm like, when I think about how many of our community members were present while they were working on her, like the hospital just let them come and come and come. My daughter Jasmine was just like, she felt it was overwhelming for her, but for me, it was like we were always covered by community and she was up until her last breath. So I just wanted to share that. That's my take on the dynamic with Shamani and what happened in the household. And Omari couldn't sleep in the bed. um, I was there for 3 months supporting, before I came back home to my house in Queens because they lived in Brooklyn. I slept in the bed because I'm like, this is where she last was. He couldn't sleep in the bed. And then when he was ready, he transitioned back into the room and I transitioned out. It's just grief. It shows up, it's perspective. It's also experience. I'm a psychotherapist. I'm constantly in healing spaces for others, and I also do work for myself. Um, I've been engaged in holding space for people in mourning for most of my adult life. So when Shamani transit, and I've also spoken and taught, and just a lot of experience of muscle building, and I'm very ritual oriented. So when Shamani passed, people were shocked. They were like, "Oh, she's in shock. That's why she's not crying. Oh, she's in shock. That's why she's speaking in front of the community in this way." I'm like, this is who I am, and this is my purpose. I'm built for this. Even though I tell people my daughter died, and my purpose is to hold space for people when they're grieving folks that die. So I did both. I grieved and I held space. And it comes naturally. And I would do it again. And she would she would come for me if I didn't do it. So and it doesn't make sense for everyone. But to answer your question about Shamani, there were symptoms. She came home. This recovery process, because she had a C-section with Anari, was different um, than um, than that experience. And so she was just like, she felt weak. She felt out of breath. There were things she was saying at the hospital that were indicators to me that there might be a pulmonary embolism. When I asked her about it when she was still alive, she was like, no, they tested me for that in the hospital. And then I was like, how? And she told me, and I'm like, I still have the text messages on the thread where I was just asking her about that because I'm like, there are ways to test for it where you can actually get the answers, and there's ways to test where you wouldn't be able to detect what's going on. Um, and so there were indicators there. But the interesting part about a C-section is that some of the symptoms that were associated with the pulmonary embolism, you could say, oh, she's weak from the C-section. She just had a major surgery, so I look at all of those things, but I said to her a few days before she passed, could it be a pulmonary embolism? I said to the EMS folks when they came, as soon as she started showing the symptoms and she started moving around and tussling in the bed, I'm like, she has a pulmonary embolism. Wow. And just watching that unfold. So when the EMS came, spoke to them, told them she just had a baby, a C-section. This is what I believe it is. And they dismissed it, told them multiple times. And then they took her to a facility that really couldn't handle her. The distance between the two hospitals might have been a few blocks. Um, so could she still be here? Absolutely. But I also want to share, and I say this to people, like I said, we're very spiritual as a family. I feel like Shamani chose not to stay because Renita mentioned this, being someone who was so independent or interdependent, someone that was the go-to for a lot of people, very alive and enlivened about life, very kinesthetic. And then as many times as she coded and as much medication as they gave her, she would have not been herself. We would have had to care for her and the newborn baby, and she wouldn't have been herself. And so she chose to transition and to support us from the other side where she could be her absolute perfect self rather than live here and have us have to care for her in a way that she would have never wanted us to do. And so while it deeply saddens me, I feel like at the end she made a choice to surrender so that she can be enlivened on the other side and cover us in only a way that Shamani could cover us.
Thank you for clearing that up, and thank you so much. I think about Shamani a lot, and Amber and all of our wives, really. But Shamani crosses my mind a lot, um, and I have to thank her because I honestly feel like because of her and the strength that she gave Omari, he was able to be there for me when I was in need,
Yes.
and he was able to be there when I really needed him. Um, So I was really going through it. And, Omari called me and we talked for hours. I don't even know this guy. We talked on the phone for almost 3 hours. Um, and that's Shamani's work.
Okay.
And that's Amber's work.
Mhm.
And that's Demi's work. All of these mothers and their stories are just synchronizing, and um, they're just aligned with all of us. And I feel like it's no coincidence that all of us are here together, and the amazing partnerships that we've grown together, and the amazing advocacy work that we've all done together. That's no coincidence at all that our loved ones are pushing us together, and creating something beautiful for other families, so they don't have to suffer what we're suffering through, and just how traumatic this experience is. Nobody should ever have to go through this. um and Alexandria, I know that you were getting ready to speak up next. Just hearing about how you carried Avi, even knowing that he had transitioned, and having to carry him for so long, it just, I couldn't even fathom, you know uh knowing that, and having to live life and walk around, just knowing that just had to have been eating you up. um and I know that you had some stuff to share as well. Could you elaborate with us?
Sure. You know, it was tearing me up, but I had my 5-year-old daughter to live for, if that makes sense. And the twins weren't here yet walking around on this earth, if that makes sense to anybody. It's interesting because that question was like, hearing the question of was almost like a trigger in the hospital. Like, those that don't know my story, I we did like a we had to go to Jamaica. My partner, he's from Jamaica, and we went to Jamaica in August, right? The last week. And um we were we made it. He had to visit his father, right? And we made it like a family moon. So we did a trip. We took my 5-year-old daughter, and it was going to be our last trip as, like, just the three of us, right? And when we went to Jamaica, I wasn't feeling right, getting close to the end, right, of our trip there. And I alerted my hospital and my doctor, and I thought I did everything right, right? And I know I did, because everything happens for a reason, right? And um a part of my plan, because I knew, they say twin pregnancy is high risk, and I just wanted to make sure I crossed my T's and dotted my I's. And Zika was crazy in 2016. And I was seeing a perinatologist, and we contacted like the resort that we stayed at in Jamaica. The staff was like phenomenal. Like, they had they just had I didn't get bit by one mosquito, but I came back to a hospital that was supposed to care for me, and I lost a child. I was in Jamaica, right? I didn't get bit once, but I lost a child when I came back home. And PTSD is real, right? um After getting my hospital records, the time after that I went even remotely close to Einstein was when I did the march for for Amber, right? In the summer. And that was probably harder than carrying Avi, to be honest with you, to have to go back to an incompetent area of physicians. And, if I can say, like, when we came back, my plan was never to go to Einstein unless there was an emergency. When we came back from Jamaica, the very next day, which was, we came back Saturday night, and then Sunday morning, I knew, like, I was getting signs of preeclampsia. I've never had it before, but I know what it looks like. And we had a plan with my perinatologist, who told me go to the closest level 3 NICU, and that's why I ended up at Einstein. I had my daughter there 5 years prior to that, but most of my family's in Westchester and Dutchess County, so my doctors are in Westchester, so that was my choice of hospital. But we went to Einstein thinking that everything was going to be okay. We were actually assured that you are fine. It's okay. We're going to keep you in here for 24 hours. I was adamant about them making sure that they could see both of the twins. I just had this feeling like sometimes it's hard when you have a twin pregnancy to make sure you can trace both heartbeats. So it's wiser, right, to make sure that you're viewing through a sonogram. So the doctor in the ER, he checked and the twins were fine. They admitted me, and I did the 24-hour urine. I stayed in there. They had an ultrasound technician that I was supposed to be seen with on Sunday when I was admitted, but then they came back to me and told me that that I'm sorry, Miss Sumner, on Sundays the technicians leave early and you won't be able to be seen until Monday morning. I wasn't seen by an ultrasound technician until Monday afternoon in Einstein. And still throughout the night, I was being monitored. Not once was I told that I had a loss. If I was told that I had a loss, I would have never brought my 5-year-old daughter in that room to witness other learn that she lost her son. Why would I do that? And my partner and my daughter Isla, we were in the ultrasound technician. She wasn't even supposed to tell me that I had a loss anyway, but she did. And unfortunately, I had to witness her be reprimanded by the staff there, but they reprimanded the wrong people. Who needed to be reprimanded was who was watching me throughout the night. And the practices that went on during my stay there, it was so traumatic. And I had a feeling like something just wasn't right, but I didn't feel like something wasn't right with myself, right? What I didn't feel confident with was the hospital sleeping there. That night, I was up most of the night and I just couldn't. It was this feeling that I was getting that I just needed to leave. And I didn't leave, I stayed. And, it all happened for a reason. And I'm glad that I'm okay and I'm able to tell my story, so I found out about the loss on Monday, right afternoon. I came back to my room, to a hospital room with a broken bed in it. I had a bed, but I don't know what was going on. My bed was broken when I got back to it. So they were cleaning up. I was laying down with preeclampsia on the windowsill for about 2 hours. If you I have video footage. It's disgusting when I look back at it. And I just can't fathom how something like that can take place, especially this is going to sound so freaking I felt like I was being naively trusting to the healthcare system that I am a part of, right? And my mother's a nurse as well, right? So I'm in this realm of like, I got this, everything. And I did have it. everything was okay, but what they were doing was not okay. You understand? And coming back to that room, having a broken bed, knowing I had to cope with the fact that I just had a loss, finding out 2 hours prior to that, and having to lay up on a heater on a windowsill was horrible. And then for the nurses, and I feel so bad, right? Because I don't know how I would have responded if I was a nurse and had to care for me at that moment, right? I think I would walk on eggshells too, but there's a form of bedside manner that you should bring. And I think they were terrified of me. And I know they kept on checking, like, are you okay? Is there anything we can do for you? And all I wanted to do was leave. And they were trying to talk me out of leaving. And they couldn't talk me out of leaving because I discharged myself. But I don't know where I would be if I stayed there. I'm terrified. You know, I think about my story, and then I think about what happened to Amber in the same freaking hospital. And I just wish I spoke up back then, you know? And but um I know this is like part of all of our journeys, but it's just it's humorous when I think about, like, even after I discharged, they sent social workers to my room. They threatened, my 5-year-old. Well, they threatened like the safety of me being a flight risk with Ari, who is still inside of me. Like, I had to reassure them to let them know I know my body and I know myself. You don't know my body apparently, and you didn't know what you guys were doing. How dare you come to my room? And it wasn't just one, it was social workers, it was residents, it was doctors, it was the nurses that were there, all trying to discourage me for leaving. And that is the best thing I could say I've ever done in my life, was to walk out that hospital. And even my doctor, my perinatologist in Westchester, I know they talked to this hospital, to Einstein, and they had to tell her, we know her, she'll come to the hospital. Like, Einstein was just scared of legal issues. That's they ass. Excuse my language. That's they ass. If you don't want to have to, every action has a reaction, right? I don't know what I would have done to them if I stayed there. I needed to leave. And when I ended up going to my hospital, and my mom ended up coming down to take care of me for the rest of the duration of the pregnancy. And the way I guess you can say coped, I don't even like that word, but the way I handled and took care of my situation is that I had a 5-year-old daughter I had to take care of. I was pregnant with Ari, not just Avi. So all I thought about was like, okay, so when we have Ari, now we have twice as much clothes. Like, I'm very like superstitious. I don't buy clothes, but I have a good support, and they were loading up on clothes for twin boys, and unfortunately, I was in the hospital on Amazon shopping. I was just doing things to take my mind. Now, I don't even want to say take my mind, because I was in my moment. I knew that I had a loss. But after I had that loss, I just knew that it forever changed the way that I trusted people that took an oath to take care of me, if that makes sense, right? And I went to therapy, right? I saw a really good therapist. I saw a psychologist, and I waited 3 months to make sure Ari was okay. You know, it took longer than that though too, because even during my pregnancy with Ari, because it was a twin, they were in the same, they were identical twins in the same, forgive me, I have all my terminology off right now. I'm in an emotional roller coaster right now, but basically they were in the same room, right? They were sharing the same space. And because of that, I had a really kick-ass perinatologist at White Plains Hospital who died a year later, by the way. But he was awesome. He ended up advocating for me, right? I didn't want to stay in the hospital at all, even though that's where they thought was the best place for me. After I discharged myself from Einstein's out of the picture now, right? When I went to my hospital, I didn't want to stay there neither. I just felt like I was suffocating in a hospital. And, the White Plains Hospital might have all the bells and whistles that you might want from a hospital and whatnot, but I felt like I was suffocating and I just wanted to be with my loved ones and my family. I didn't want to be there anymore. So the perinatologist, he wanted me to do a, what do you call it? Oh my God, what is it? Like not a CAT scan. What is it called? I'm sorry, a prenatal MRI. They've never done it at White Plains Hospital before for somebody pregnant. So they tried it on me. They couldn't analyze the data. So they sent me to a specialist, which was my ticket out from my perinatologist, right? It was like a smart plan that we came up with and it's sad that I had to go through all these bells, all these different, I can't think of it, but I had to go through all these different hoops just to get to my damn bed. I didn't want to be under their care. I just needed to breathe. And that's what I had. So after all this happened and I had my son, he's great now. But I just cared for him. I loved. That's how I dealt with all of this. I just loved. And I went to the gym, I worked out, and of course I said I went to therapy and I just did a lot of healing and I'm somebody deeply connected and rooted with my ancestors, and I did a lot of praying with them. I connected with them. And yeah, so that's how I'm continuously healing. And right now I feel like just by talking to all of you guys, it's funny. I feel like it opened up. It like reopened up this part of me that I don't always speak about. But I'm glad that like the more I speak about it, the more easier I guess it gets. I feel the more easier it is to talk about it, and I'm happy that I'm here to be able to express this. And that's it.
And
Just keep on going. Mhm.
definitely, and we're truly glad to have you here, Alex. And I appreciate you riding with me since day one. I truly appreciate you, and I'm sorry that you had to go through all of that. And I share those same feelings. I walk. I mean, I drive past Montefiore Moses and Montefiore Einstein, and my blood just starts boiling. And just the trauma that just comes with the name of Montefiore now. Um,
Yes,
and the fact that they try to water down their statistics because they're not talking about how many women they're cutting open for C-sections and how many women of those women don't actually need the sections. They're
exactly.
not they're not revealing that information. They're not revealing the morbidities. Um,
Bruce, they put me through hoops just to get my documentation from them.
they
Okay?
they did that
Don't
to
be
us.
afraid I'm gonna sue you. I
They
don't
did
even
that
care
to us.
about no financial aspect.
Mhm.
It's
They
going to come back around. I'm
Yes,
not, it's going to
yes,
come back.
exactly, and that's
But
exactly what they did to us. They were losing
Mhm.
blood work and paperwork and all types of things. It just doesn't make any sense at all. So I guess it's fair to say, women, ladies, um, You can just simply shake your head yes or no. At any time, did you feel like your family was being prioritized? Do you feel like you were being prioritized? You can just shake your head yes or no.
Hell no.
Hell no, not at all, right? And it just seems like we had to go through so many hoops and whistles. Now, Renita, I also have a question for you. Oh, she's not even paying attention. Renita.
Alex, while he's getting her attention, I just wanted to say there were so many powerful things that you touched on, such strength in knowing yourself and your body and saying, like I need to not be here and trusting that. And I think it's something that, we possess. And I'm glad that you listened to yourself and you decided to check yourself out. Um, our
Thank you.
relationship, I'm sorry.
No, I said thank you. My own mother, who's a nurse, didn't want me to
To check
leave.
yourself out.
You
Yeah.
know, no, she was like, stay there, just stay, wait till I get there. And I'm like, you upstate, mom, I'm out, you know? And I I looked crazy. But can I just say one more
Okay.
little thing? I took bechamethasone to make sure Ari's lungs would develop, right? In the event that I would have to deliver him early, right? When you take steroids, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a chance that your glucose is going to increase. They were trying to trap me in the hospital. Oh, guess Miss Sumner, your levels are high. Your glucose is high. We need you to stay another day. I had to tell them, and excuse my language, but to hell with y'all. Give me a glucose, like when people are diabetic and they're pregnant, right? You don't have to be hospitalized. I'll buy my glucose meter. I need to be discharged. I need to leave. It was just, the more I think about it, it's just
See if he's moving too much.
their coercion to try to hold people back. It's like they don't want to take care of us, but you want us to stay in your hospitals? Oh, I get it. You want my insurance money, right? It's oh, so cute. I think I know that there's a reason why we're here and we're all together, and I'm ready to do the work and to fight for everybody
Yes.
that isn't here, all the women, all the mothers that weren't able to tell the story that I'm fortunate enough to tell. Um, it really breaks my heart, and I'm not taking this for vain. I've been quiet for too long about this, and I just want you guys to know that if you guys just want to talk or whatever, you guys can email me, call me. It's hard, and but we got a lot of work to do, a lot of advocacy work. We got to push. That's it.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you. And like I had just mentioned, none of us were being heard. Women were advocating for themselves and not being heard and being ignored. Um, at no point y'all felt prioritized. Which leads to my question to Renita. Renita, did you find it normal that you had to constantly call on behalf of Amber and complain about the service that she was receiving by the providers? Did you find it normal that she was always complaining about her provider and that we constantly had to call or have you call in order for them to even do what they were supposed to be doing in the first place? It seemed like we always had to call for information that they were supposed to be releasing to us, that they weren't just, that they simply just weren't giving us. Did you find that normal, Renita? Your mic's
I got it. No, I don't think that's normal at all. You know, I've worked at the hospital for 25 years. Amber's 26 years old. Amber has had health insurance there, and doctors there all her life, all her life. Once she became pregnant, things changed. Um, and I always ask Amber what's going on and things like that. And when she would tell me, I would make it my business to see what's going on. Just like I shared earlier, like with school, when something happened, you call me and I will follow. I will find out what's going on, even if I didn't work there. But I think because I worked there, I had that access. Even if I didn't work there, I would do the same thing. I would find out what's going on. I'll call back, I'll harass, I'll do whatever I have to do to find out why this is happening. I wanted her to change the doctor because I didn't like the way Amber was telling me some of the things the doctor was saying. I don't feel that was normal at all. A normal standard of care is to actually listen to you're going to take care of your patient. You're going to listen to them. You're going to look into, even if they may seem crazy. Like sometimes I know that people, when I used to go to the doctor, I want to check this and that. I'm not a hypochondriac. This is the way I feel. Please check it. Everybody has that right, and it should be followed through. It's not normal for someone else to have to get involved to make things happen because they have a connection or a network there. That should not have happened. It is not normal. It's not a normal thing, but I see that it probably does happen. People who work there and trying to get other things for other people, it probably does. They do that. They get involved, but it shouldn't be. It should be that the physician is actually listening to what you're saying and looking into what you're feeling, why you're feeling that way. And the first thing you do when someone's feeling sick and you really want to know what's going on with them, you check the blood, right? You check the lab work because you can tell if you have something going on with your heart, your stomach, with anything when you do blood work. That's priority, right? So if they're sending her for blood work and they're not looking at it, because as her platelet count started to decline, that should have been a warning sign, right? Right away. And it didn't happen. She was overlooked. All right. She was put on the back burner.
She was neglected.
She was neglected.
She was neglected.
Yes, she was. So it's not normal for me to have to call and try to change my daughter's doctor, for me to email the doctor. My daughter asked for these papers to be filled out. Can you please fill them out correctly? You filled them out the first time, but you're saying that the patient wants to leave because of her own personal reasons. It's not that. It's a medical reason. She's not well, so you need to fill it out again. Right? And then she's concerned about who I am. To Amber tells me she's worried about who you are instead of filling out the papers. And then they push her off to somebody else. This is when she was being transferred over to a high-risk doctor who never saw her. Amber's appointment still on the calendar. She never saw the doctor.
Miss Renita, if you don't mind, I just want to say this the injustices that's been done to Black women, right, has been normal in the healthcare, and I don't even want to call it a healthcare system because it's not healthy. And they've normalized this behavior.
I'm gonna mute it. Sorry.
It's okay. I love babies. They normalize this behavior, and it is normal now. It's normal for Black women, right, to go into the hospital and have to worry about, are we going to be able to come out of the hospital? That is normal now. It shouldn't be, but it's normal. We have to get rid of that normalcy. We have to fight it.
Yes, we do. And we going to, and that's exactly what we're doing. So thank you all so much. We have went over our time. I do want to be courteous to everyone's time. So I just want to ask you one last question. If there was someone watching right now and they needed help or they needed a way to contact you, how would they be able to contact you, and how would you be able to receive help as well from others? How can we contact you? And this is for everyone, so whoever's welcome to speak around the room. How can we support you?
I'm gonna drop my email in the chat and my phone number. Uh, so I can be reached by that. And just I just want to see us. I hope this should not be our last meeting together. That's all.
Not at
Don't
all,
mean
and
by
it's not
like
going
let's
to.
get
It's not
together and
going to.
like yeah, that's all.
And Shawnee, how can we help you guys in your foundation?
Well, my information is public, so if you see my name in this box, my little box here, Shawnee Benton Gibson, if you Google it, like probably my number will come up because my number is a public number. And I have a website that's Shawnee Renee Benton .com. You can find me on Facebook. Instagram is Shawnee the Healer. I will also put the information in the chat so that those who wish to reach out can definitely do that. My son, Omari's my son. That's my son's son, SUNSON. You're my bonus son too, Bruce, and love you so much. Um, what I was going to say is that we both chose to pursue um, creating the creation of a foundation in Shimani's memory, and it's called ARIA. And because we're all artists in my family in different ways, and Omari's a visual artist, we chose to approach the issue, this scourge of maternal morbidity and mortality, to approach that from artistry and healing. I'm also a psychotherapist, as I shared, but I'm a performance artist. So blending those two things together is a natural thing. And so ARIA stands for the Advancement of Reproductive Innovation through Artistry and Healing. And so we definitely want to bring innovation to the work. Alex was just sharing, and Renita was sharing about standard of care. I'm like, I don't want the standard of care for Black women. We need a whole different approach to how Black and Brown women and Indigenous women, the standard of care is killing us. All
Yeah.
right. The habituation in hospitals is like everybody, the cookie cutter approach is killing us. And so bringing artistry to reproductive health, having birthing centers and not be weird or the a modern way. It's like go back to the ways of the old, our ways, our rituals around birth and catching babies. Like there was nothing wrong with that. But patriarchy will have you thinking that that was so archaic and out of order that they needed to take birth to the hospital as if it's a sickness and not a natural process. And here we are where we are. So I our work is about the advancement of the conversation and to make sure that women are covered, and that when we do the most natural thing, which is to contribute to life in partnership with our partners, that we are able to come out alive, and so are our babies. And that's a damn shame that I have to say that. But like you said, Alex, it's becoming the norm to worry about whether you're going to survive.
Yeah.
And so my work in the world is to transform that in partnership with Bruce and Renita and Jamelia and Tracy and Alex and all of those who are down for the cause. And what I loved about what you were talking about, Bruce, and I'll quiet myself after this, is that we all approach the work in different ways, right? And so we need healers in the work. We need folks who are like marching in the work. We need folks who can speak and articulate. We need researchers in the work. Like all of us approaching it from different ways so that we can really defeat this beast. Because doing it one way is not going to work. So I love that you and Omari have synergized. And now you have this momentum with Charles, Johnson, and the other dads and mothers and doulas and midwives and just everybody coming together, administrators, because we all need to be in this fight. And we all need to be calling this shit what it is. It's white supremacy and its manifestations. And I'd say that unapologetically. So
Okay.
I just wanted to thank y'all for this space to forward the message.
Thank you. And I'll definitely say the same thing too, because we need more than mothers and birth workers to care about this issue. So, which is why I've been, trying to get more fathers involved and, get everybody involved, because we see what's going on with policing in the streets, but we don't see what's happening to our women in these hospitals. And just like the women aren't being heard by their doctors, they're also not being heard by their men as well, which is a stigma that we are going to change, and
Right.
we're going to change that. And y- just another yes or no question. Um, sorry, it just left me. It was there and then it was there and then it left me. But I am gonna close it up. I do want to be courteous of everyone's time. Also, Tracy, how can we help you push forward and help you with your legal battle for Demi? How can we help you?
Well, I still have the GoFundMe going. I'll just it's her Instagram is Justice for Demi Malachi. It's on there, the link, and I'm working on her webpage, so that should hopefully that'll be up and running soon. But right now we're just doing everything through Instagram. I'll put my email on the chat line too, and phone number. But thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for everything you're doing. You inspire me. And I know that we can do this together, all of us. All of us have a voice. And they deserve to be heard.
Yes, ma'am. And we gonna take care of that, and we're gonna bring justice for all of our beloveds. I do want to thank all of you guys for your strength, ladies. Thank you so much for your strength. It takes so much courage to get up here and speak, especially about something so sensitive. So I do want to thank all of you yet again, for your strength. And I also want to thank my lovely co-host, Jamelia Heredia. You did a beautiful job. Thank you so much. As well as the rest of the saveArose team. Um, Next week, we are hosting an event on the 28th. It's on a Wednesday at 8 o'clock, and we are going to bring in birth workers as well, reproductive justice activists, midwives, doulas, some powerful advocates that have been, working on the front lines. And, I'm going to be interviewing them and asking them questions next week. So please tune in and follow. You can follow up on our you can follow up with the information on our link tree, as well as our social media accounts we will be posting. Yet again, ladies, thank you so much, and we will be in touch. Um, like I said, we're your community, we're the extension to your family, and I have nothing but love for all of you, and I'm gonna fight for your families just like you guys are gonna fight for mine. So thank you everyone so much. Stay black, stay brown, stay beautiful. And I love all of y'all. And I'm gonna catch y'all next time. And yeah, we do need more of these talks. So we are gonna have more of these talks because it's well deserved. The people need to hear these. So yet again, ladies, thank you so much. And I look forward to working with all of you yet again. And I look forward to speaking with you this week, because I feel like I talk to you almost all of y'all every week. Um, so I'm gonna talk to y'all soon, and everyone have a blessed night. All right.
Bruce, are you gonna email the chat? Can you?
What do you
I
mean?
didn't copy any info, but I guess it's in the group chat.
You can save the chat and then you can send the transcript to.
Okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, that's how we'll send it.
Thank you. Oh, I can do it too. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
All right, well, thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have
you
a good
all.
night. All right. I
Thank
love
you. Nice
all of you.
meeting you all, Shawnee and Tracy and Alex. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
All right.
Good
Talk
night.
soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.